Today is Monday, April 12th, and this is the third period class recording for Math 1B. And we just finished going over the notes for page 13 through 15. We did skip page 16, and now we're looking at page 19 because we went through 1 through 9 in class Thursday before break. And let's see. YouTube link is at the top of the daily page. Just curious if I did put this video in here or not. I did. So there's a video, and we went over some standard deviation stuff too. All right. So for number 10, looking at this data set. And I want us to really think about this, because if I have these values here, and we're just gonna write them in least to greatest, 80, 85 3 times, and then 90. This is 85 is 5 less than 90, right? And 80 is 5 less than 85, right? So that 5 and 5 is going to balance itself out. That 5 more, 5 left balances out. What's the median? 85. And that 5 plus and 5 minus is going to balance out, which means my mean and median are equal. Does everybody understand how we did that without having to add up and divide? Does everybody understand why that's going to be the same? Okay. So looking at this, if I have here, what's my median of this set? 6. And if I add up all of these values and divide by 5, is that going to be, well, if we divide by 5, what would make it less than 6 if we're dividing by 5? Okay, let's rephrase that. So if we know that my median is 6, and I'm trying to verify or see, is my mean gonna be 6? That's what I'm trying to figure out. So we know we have 5 data points, right? Yes? So that means we're gonna have to divide by 5. So what value divided by 5 is 6? 30, right? So 6 plus 6 is, well, yes. So 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 6 is 12, plus 7 is 19, plus 1 is 20, plus 15 is, so 20 plus 15 is 35. So is my mean going to be 6? That's supposed to be 5. What's 35 divided by 5? So what's my answer? A, B, C, D. A. Do you guys feel confident in your ability to do that without a calculator? So if it's less than 5 numbers, if it's less than 10 numbers, we should be able to add and divide by how many without a calculator? All right. Alex earned scores 60, 74, 82, 87, 87, 94 on his first 6 algebra tests. What is the relationship between the measures of central tendency of his scores? So what's the mode? 87. Is the median less than the mode? It has to be, right? So the only answer that makes sense is D. Because the mode isn't the smallest value, and the mode's not the middle value. The mode's the highest value. Jack, stop that. Does everybody understand how we figured that out just based off of what the mode was? So that's the kind of problem solving we need to have when it comes to statistics. It's not even always about the math. Like, we know how to add, multiply, and divide, but it's about understanding the concept behind the numbers. 13. Mr. Taylor raised all of his students' scores on a test by 5 points. How were the mean and range of the scores affected? So, firstly, let's think about the range. How do we find the range? Max minus min. So if I increase all of the scores by 5 points, is my range going to change? If everything increases. Why not, Isaiah? Why is the range not going to change? Because even though they're increased by 5, they were both increased by 5. So that difference hasn't changed. Does that make sense? So, like, let's say my lowest score was a 60 and my highest score was a 90. If I add 5, 65 to 95, that's still the same distance, right? So our range is not going to increase. Range is not going to increase. So now I have to figure out, is my mean going to increase? So if we think about, let's just take a group of 3 smaller numbers. If I have 2, 4, and 6, and I change that to plus 3, 5, 7, and 9. Is the average of these 3 numbers going to be the same as the average of these 3 numbers? No. Is it going to go up or down? Up. So it's going to increase. 10 was D, 11 was A, 12 was D, 13 was B. You guys can pack up.